Well, I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds, and what an absolute pleasure it is to be here on day 2 of MARITECH. I got to tell you, a lot of good conversations were had over the last couple of days. A lot of collaboration, a lot of business getting done right here in Newfoundland. It's so good to see the whole industry coming together. These folks understand that a rising tide floats all boats. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us what you do.
Good. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate you having me. I'm Matt Miller, a marine industry principal at Aviva.
Okay, so what's Aviva do?
Aviva is a leading provider of software that helps design, build, control, operate, and optimize assets across 20 plus different industries, but we have a long history, almost 50 years in the maritime industry.
Wow.
Started in design, and we're one of the world leaders in engineering design, and we also have a very strong presence in building operations software for operators to help improve their metrics and operate more efficiently. So we're looking to help bring those two things together.
Now, you were one of the keynotes here, or the keynote today. Talk to me a little bit about what you were discussing in there.
So what I tried to do today is lay out the digital transformation, some big words, demystify a couple of things like digital transformation and digital twins, lay out the journey that everybody's on in ways that hopefully they can identify with, break them down into some actionable pieces, and so they can help self-assess where they're at and where to go, what to do. I think a lot of times with so much going on and everything getting thrown at you, people don't necessarily, it isn't obvious. What's my next step? How do I take that next step to improve? And how do I get to the end point, right? It doesn't seem so certain. And because they haven't done it before, right? So because Aviva is in a position where we've got 30,000 customers all on this journey, many of them are decades ahead of the maritime industry, really have the opportunity to provide some ideas to be able to say, hey, here's what other people's journey looked like, and here's some of the stumbling blocks, and here's some of the the progressions that were important. Here's some of the lessons learned from that process.
Probably not the best turn of phrase, but you're so right. You've watched others go through the journey. You're with them on the journey. No need to reinvent this wheel as it relates to digitization or digital twinning and things like that. Are you seeing the marine sector moving in the right direction?
Yes, because it doesn't have a choice.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, and I said in my talk, I think survivability is not only survivability of the companies themselves, because the digital leaders will dominate the space. We've already seen it start to happen with mergers and acquisitions. The people who are ahead of the curve are going to have such a competitive advantage that there won't be an opportunity for other people to participate. It's already a tough industry, right? You give somebody an unfair advantage, and it's a bit of an arms race from a data perspective to get there. And the IMO layered in a whole nother challenge about how do we get to zero emissions, right? So, and to do that, because there is no silver bullet with energy, that means that everybody's got to be on a unique journey. They got to figure it out. So being able to break that down in a way that everybody can consume it, help them understand, okay, what do I do next? How am I going to get through this? How am I going to survive?
Yeah.
And not only survival for the company, but ultimately the emissions roll up into survivability of our species and our planet and other species, right? I mean, we got to figure out how to solve our big problems.
What would your advice be to companies that are, looking at this and saying, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to, a great start to sort of bust some myths there. But what is your kind of message to companies that are looking at it and saying, do I have the appetite to do this,
Well, buckle up, Buttercup, right? You've got to do it.
You got to get on board.
Sooner or later, you'll either be on board or underwater at some point.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I don't mean that in an alarmist sense. No. I'm saying that just in all industries that are more mature, if you look at the guys who are winning, they are dumb. They've figured their stuff out, right? So it's not a nice to have; it's a must have.
I got you.
The operating complexity that's coming with all these new regulatory changes, we believe, will require some advanced tooling, some advanced analytics, some advanced capability. You won't be able to manage the complexity of the future operations without data in a format that makes it very actionable.
Yeah.
So not only is you'll be at a disadvantage, but the complexity is going to bury you. Imagine a fleet of vessels. I got 50 vessels in 3 different regions of the world, all running different fuel, maybe even within that fleet, 3 or 4 different fuel types, different types of voyages, different types of vessels, different OEMs.
Yeah.
Like, and now knowing how am I going to improve each one of those vessels to be able to hit my net zero target?
Right.
What am I going to do to every single one of those to ensure my fleet as a whole meets the targets I'm at? It's a mind-numbingly complex thing, and if you don't have your data put together in the right way, I don't think you're going to get there.
Did you have a good conference? Did you enjoy the show?
Great conference. My first time here.
Okay.
Was very welcoming. Was really thrilled with how the organization has embraced not only me but everybody here. Environment's been fantastic. Food's been really good surprise.
Great,
Food, lots of fun. Pretty good natured all around.
Yeah.
Has been thrilled, and we're looking forward to coming back.
Great. Montreal next year, do you feel you'll be there as well?
Oh, for sure, we'll be in
Yeah,
Montreal.
that's great. Listen, I really appreciate your perspective, appreciate your talk, important things you're talking about, and I like the way you so clearly lay it out. Get on board because this is here now, and well done, mate. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Alan.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.